welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, the only show on Indian television where you, the MSME, get center stage. This is ETNR's special daily initiative to give MSMEs and entrepreneurs the opportunity to be front and center in every industry and area that matters to you. Tonight on the show, we're bringing you highlights from an event that we did in Ranchi. Leading the industrialization age was our theme, and we had some of the biggest experts joining us that evening to talk to us about what they had in mind. My colleague Pooja Jain moderated that panel discussion. Take a look.
Let me thank you for organizing this event in Ranchi. This is something which is quite futuristic, and that shows the Times network has really identified, first of all, the cities where these MSMEs are really striving to excel and progress, and identifying SMEs which are going to be the real future business leaders of this country. If you really think of growth of many of the developed countries and many of the big companies, they all started with a very small scale. And in due course of time, they become so big, we have forgotten that how small they had started. And even within India, big companies which we see today, many of them have started with a very small scale. You know, companies like Infosys and all started with just like a startup. And therefore, I think it is really interesting that Times Network has really started something which actually ignites, motivates, inspires people like you to become as big as many of the companies today are seen as a mega companies. So therefore, I think leaders of tomorrow is a right word which has been coined to reflect that tomorrow probably some of you will surely become a very big company, big business leaders will lead this country and certainly this state. Thank you very much.
First of all, let's start with, has small-scale industries, have MSMEs in Ranchi emerged from the shadow of the success that large-scale industry have enjoyed? Can I start with you?
Our experience as an organization in Ranchi has been very recent. I mean, about last 24 months is when we have been here, and we have been very pleasantly surprised in all infrastructure development, all policy development, all participation that we see at the grassroots level. So we were very surprised from our sector, especially textiles, garmenting. There's a cluster of about 1,500 small sector players who are operating off of small manufacturing setups, who exports to different people or doing subcontracting. So they have been operating in almost non-existent conditions before, but with anvil of walking of bigger players like us and our fellow industries, there's a lot of the whole ecosystem changes. So we are witnessing in front of eyes people moving from smaller machine counts to a bigger machine count, and that's where is the first seeds that starts to germinate, when the smaller players sense the opportunity. And just to put a headline number over there, we envisage a possibility of $1 billion exports from this home turf within a period of next 7 to 8 years combined.
I have to agree, those projections are staggering. And do they come as a surprise to you, Avijit? And has Ranchi's accelerated development come with its fair share of surprises?
As you know, that Heavy Engineering Corporation, when it started, way back in early 60s, you know, it all started with MSMEs that time, you know. And then total MSMEs, of course, now the things are different. But then now, if you see the national manufacturing policy which has come up, and today, you know, this 16% is the contribution of manufacturing sector. And then, you know, this we have to go ahead with this figure to 25% by 2025. How will reach that? You know, we have to develop the MSMEs. And now if you see the growth of HSE is also governed by growth of the MSMEs all around us. But we lost the track, in the past, we lost the track. And wherein that the company was not doing well, many MSMEs were set up, they also could not do well. Now again the things have changed, and a lot of development works are going on, and growth of any manufacturing industry mainly depends upon the growth of the MSMEs. And if you see all the thanks to Government of India for introducing this Startup India, and if you see all young entrepreneurs, now after graduation, after getting the degree, they are straightway starting this business straightway, and thanks to Government of India again for giving a number of incentives for Startup Indias.
Ranjit, how would you classify the ground level impact of this implementation of government policy in Ranchi in particular?
See, I will take you back to the times in 2000 when the Jharkhand was created. If you look at the MSME sector, most of the MSMEs that are presently operating here are basically from the times of Bihar, when it was a united Bihar and Jharkhand. After the state was created, we had a lot of hope that things will change dramatically, but that didn't happen at that time. So there was a stagnation during that period, say in the up to 2015-16, when the government realized that the MSME is the backbone of the economy, and the economy is going down in the Jharkhand. And our Chief Minister, Raghuvar Das ji, took a great initiative by introducing this Momentum Jharkhand. That changed the whole scenario. After the Momentum Jharkhand, actually the momentum took place, and the entire industry and the entire government started looking after the industry, searching for the industry, looking after the what are the scopes of industries. Because see, the Jharkhand is a very good state where we have minerals, we have natural resources, where you have food products. Food industry is means a very prospective area. So the government has started taking initiative, and now we can see that the things are mobilizing and moving in a right direction.
So it seems that Jharkhand seems to have this stable political climate, the availability of natural resources. These are some of the plus points. What are some of the pain points that are holding MSMEs back, and how can they be overcome?
That's a tricky question, but I would not say that what is holding back. It is sheer innocence of the state, and the procedure will take its time to come from the adolescence to the adulthood. So the state, which has great amount of people at across level in terms of support in the government system, the policy, even at the grassroots, at the public and the city level, they are not habituated to a large-scale industrialization. So the pace and the translation of policy to the groundwork is not hampered by any bureaucracy. It's just that it is a lack of practice. So with these kind of initiatives that some of the finest of industry department people are working on, the policy, if they start to trickle down and translate in a little speedier way, the results will happen for themselves. See, the Make in India or the Startup India does not necessarily happen with the highly educated people. They are already found their bases in Bangalore, Delhi, Bombay, where they're working in the great environment. But when you talk about small sector, SMEs, MSMEs to operate from new turfs like Jharkhand, Ranchi, etc., is there a fodder? Yes. There's a large amount of people who are uneducated, willing to learn, willing to work. So there's a huge ingredient. Is it a policy initiative? Yes, there's a great policy initiative. Like Sir said, Momentum Jharkhand was an eye-opener for us. Frankly speaking, most of us did not know where exactly Jharkhand was in the Indian's map. And when we came here, we were almost spellbound to see the great achievement of the event itself, the policy initiative, the people they came forward to support and everything. Now it is time to materialize. There's an intention. Everything is fine. It's just that the habit needs to develop.
And sir, in your view, which industries do you think MSMEs are best poised to capitalize on?
See, like as I said earlier, we have a very large scope in mineral-based industries. Like we have a lot of iron ore, coal-based industries are here, and then you move towards food processing. Like we can see in Jharkhand, all the products which we are consuming on a day-to-day basis, these products are coming from outside the states. From far distant like Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Gujarat. We have a lot of scope for, you can take any example.
Talk more
like
about that, about taking
paper,
calculated
file,
risks in business.
Anything you look
So
around
some could argue
nearby,
that
all
you
the
coming
things are
to
coming from
Jharkhand.
outside. And there is a lot of scope for each and every product which can be manufactured in Ranchi and can be sold very cheaply here because of the transportation factors and the high consumption. So finding a scope is, a lot of scope is there. And we just have to look out for the opportunities and the support which you can get from the government.
You know, I'd like to talk more about that, about taking calculated risks in business. So some could argue that you coming to Jharkhand could also have been a risk, and you're making the decision to, grow the business here. So what were the factors that contributed to that decision?
No, for us it was a natural extension, being an industry leader in the sector of garment manufacturing and exports, to find newer opportunities in pasture. See, the business, I will answer this question in two parts. See, the first part is that overall the business of exports and garment manufacturing out of the country has pretty much saturated at big cities level, owing to upgradation in the wages. The cost of operations have gone high, the cost of land has gone high, the cost of compliances have gone very high, and the garmenting business globally moves from a low-cost destination to a low-cost destination. We are very rightly poised as an industry to capture on this, because we are still a low-cost destination where the garment business can get exported from here. Why it is so important? After agriculture, it is the largest employer in the formal sector. So for us as a garment manufacturing big organization, coming to a land where there is a very visionary chief minister, where there is great policy from the industries department, and they are living up to the every expectation that here, it's a cherry for us. We just would love to come.
Time for a break, but do stay tuned. We'll continue bringing you the highlights from that panel discussion that we did in Ranchi on the other side. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight on the show we continue bringing you highlights from a ground event we did in Ranchi. We do 20 such ground events across the country so that we're hearing from you, the MSME entrepreneur, directly. Take a listen to what some of the experts in Ranchi had to say to us.
The big thing about signals is picking up on them early. Right, so that you're a leader and not a follower in business. So for all of the SMEs in the audience, what are some of those signals that they should be looking for, that should be indicators with respect to the shape in which they take their business? Sir, that question's to you.
See, in fact, the government, this government of Jharkhand, has taken a lot of initiative for, starting up number of new mines. Okay. Now, in fact, it has got potential for mineral industry, and it has got a 40% of the reserve, which we have got here in the mineral sector. Now, suppose we start all the mines, and then you have the value-added product, value-added industries. If you set up over here, then what will happen? In fact, as he was telling, the laborers who have gone out of this state, they will definitely come back, and not only that. In fact, the boys whom we are going to train, they will also come and join those industries. Now that is very important, because if at all, even we have the forest reserve over here, now to get this the permission for this forest clearance and all, that also this particular government is very proactive, and so that we can start the mineral industry right on time. And because if you have the time overrun, mind it, if you have the time overrun, then the whole industries which we have planned, it will get delayed, and there will be problem for this particular state. But then this state has taken the proactive approach for setting up this mineral industry, and then again the starting of the mineral industry, and industries are also coming up for employment. So that for the MSMEs also, they are also getting a lot of support from the government.
Now, MSMEs often face the struggle of sourcing capital, financing, plain vanilla financing. Who are the players on the public side and on the private side that can come to their rescue, lend their support, facilitate their growth?
See, there are two avenues of financing to the small-scale industries. Basically, the primary one is the bankers. Bankers are now getting aggressive in Jharkhand, and they are willing to lend money for the deserving people. Of course, they are choosy, and for a new industry, it's difficult to get financing so easily. If you start your industry and you prove yourself, then there is no lack of financing. So you can get any amount. But initially there is a problem, but banks are now willing to fund the startups and new industries. And secondly, there is private equity. That is not very popular in our region because the industrial activity has just started picking up. And I think after, say, 6 months, 1 year or 2 years, these people will take interest because they want some volume. In Jharkhand, we don't find much volume for these people. So basically, we are depending upon the banks and these financing institutions like SIDBI and all for the funds we need. And then people go for private financing and their personal financing from these people who are acquainted to you. And these people finance. That is sort of private equity only, but not in a very arranged manner.
Sure. And these are all complex decisions that MSMEs struggle with. Who to get financing from and at what stage in their growth cycle. So, as seasoned entrepreneurs here on the panel, what sort of advice would you impart to them?
I think there is no straitjacket approach to this. To each his own is the way, and markets are very efficient, industry is very efficient, so it's survival of the fittest.
And what I like about these offshoots is many of these ideas are not nearly as capital intensive as the primary businesses that they support. Yeah. Right? So, that of course is low-hanging fruit for MSMEs. So, the direction I'd like to take the conversation now in is talent development in Ranchi. Are we doing enough? And where does this start? Does it start at a university level? Does it start within the corporate culture and the DNA of a company such that it focuses on, continuous skill development and training internally? And how have you tackled these challenges within your four walls?
So one information I would like to share with you that we have the mining institute over here, the Indian School of Mines, which has become now IIT ISM. It was set up in 1926. You have got that institute here, and it was the first mining institute which was started in India. And then you have the BIT, MESRA, you have a lot of other engineering colleges. Not only that, we have got Agriculture University also here, and we have got Medical College. And if you see other ITI also, you have got number of ITIs over here. The question is that how you are going to train your boys, and how you are going to uplift the education level of this particular state. But it's already education hub is there. For the students who are passing out from either BIT Mesra or BIT Sindri or ISM, they are just not staying over here. How many students are staying here? How many of them are staying here? They are all going out. If you see the maximum students from engineering hub, they are going to Bangalore or Pune or in Hyderabad. So if you start up this industry over here, all of them will stay back. And we have got the medical college over here. How many doctors are staying here back?
Many of Ranchi's MSMEs are family-owned and operated businesses. And yet what we're beginning to see is that the next generation is taking less and less interest sometimes in joining that family business. There's a reluctance, and that, it disturbs succession planning and so many other stages of, how an entrepreneur envisions his company will grow and develop. So, your words of advice to perhaps an MSME whose next generation is not particularly keen on joining that business.
The diversification, they are trying to diversify. Whatever their fathers or forefathers, they started some business. Now, the education level has so much gone up. They want to do something different. And that is why they are probably diversifying from their main business. And that's not bad. Because, you cannot just stick to one business and then you just be satisfied with that. That business is already there. And they are going to diversify into other business. And that is going to widen their horizon. And that's not bad. And then now the education level has gone up. Because of that, because if you see their fathers or forefathers, they were not that much trained or educated. But now, since they are getting that education, they have got the different, sort of outlook, and they are trying to do something different, and that's not bad. So that is one thing. And I just add to what he was telling about, the grassroots level, this definitely, it is very much required to give this education to the grassroots level. If you go to inside any, corner of Jharkhand, you will find, even if you go to, Godda, if you go to Dumka, in those areas, the education level is not there. But then Now the steps have been taken, by the skill development mission, which he was very rightly telling the number of, steps he has taken to train those, the tribal boys and girls to make them employable, and that is definitely going to help.
There seems to be quite a bit of optimism here, but concern as well. Are you bullish on Ranchi overall, and what are some of the biggest bottlenecks that you foresee?
Well, we have been very recently here. We have not spent a lot. We're still in a honeymoon period, and everything is very nice. Everything is rosy. In fact, fortunately, we don't have power problem also for where our power plant, where our manufacturing plant is. It's a good government. It's a very able industries department that is supporting us. If there are any smaller problems that can be anywhere in our country, I don't think it is significantly different. We are at a very whiteboard situation. Whatever we do from here is going to be good for everybody. If I was to just nitpick, maybe availability of land or the land prices is an area of concern, because much more expensive than the capital cities of the country itself. That could be one deterrent for some sectors. Otherwise, nothing glaringly big issue. And infrastructure is still in place to accommodate the first set of sailors who reach here. The growth can happen alongside.
That's our show tonight. If you want to know where we're heading next here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, for any suggestions about the areas of the cities that we should definitely be visiting, here's how. You can send us your thoughts. leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com is our email ID. You can also tweet at us at LOT_ET now, or my personal Twitter handle is Sunanda_J. Our Facebook page is where you can reach us as well, Leaders of Tomorrow on ET now. Thanks very much for watching. Have a good night.